I want to thank the facility, the college, to host this important forum for the mayor candidates, some of the mayor candidates for Kissimmee. So thank you for being here tonight and support what we're doing. Without further ado, I want to introduce our executive director and founder of Alianza, Mr. Michael.
Good evening. This is now our fifth candidate forum of the year, and it's only July, right? So we are really excited at this year and how much people have responded to this initiative, and I think it's a wonderful initiative. But before we get into it, I want to first of all welcome Dr. Martin DeBert to come up and say a few words of welcome on behalf of our host tonight, which is Florida Technical College here in the heart of Kissimmee. So, Dr. Martin DeBert.
Thank you. Sure. Welcome everyone to FTC here in Kissimmee. If it's your first time, don't make it your last time. A couple of things I want to say thank you to the candidates for coming out. I've worked very closely with both John and Jackie, and I wish you nothing but the best in your campaign. Okay, in terms of FTC, a little bit of information if you did not know, the campus that you're sitting in is the largest technical college in the entire state of Florida. We have over 1,300 students. We're actually the only college in the state of Florida that offers programs 100% Spanish as well. For me, that's really important for our community. We offer 5 programs in Spanish, which is barbering, electrical, cosmetology, baking, and oh my God, culinary. Did I say culinary? And we do medical assisting bilingual. For anybody here who lives in Osceola County? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Why would that be important to have programs taught in Spanish? They're probably going to talk a little bit about this up here tonight, right? The only county in the state of Florida where over 50% of the residents are officially Hispanic. And we're very proud of that here at my college, okay? So one of the things that's really important to me is to give access to my students and to our graduates, to anybody who wants information about our school, right? As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, we just amplified what we do, where we are now one of the few nursing schools in the state of Florida as well. So now we offer 23 different programs and nursing on top of that. So again, if anybody wants any information about FTC, please let me know. I see some people that I've worked very closely with in the past. So again, I look forward to this forum and any future forums, Mr. Villar. So however we can do to accommodate the community, FTC is always here to help. So again, congratulations on 2 of you running for mayor, and best of luck.
We should also say that a couple years ago, we held our summer camp. Alianza Center held its summer camp here in the facilities. And so thank you for that as well. And we're planning for everyone here who might be interested, probably there's a lot of people who might be interested. We're planning a policy and government course that we're going to be holding in the fall. The dates are still being worked out, but this is going to be an opportunity for people who want to know more about policy, more about government, how local, state, and federal government work together. And it's complicated, right? So we want to make it easier and digestible. And each of those workshops, it'll be 8 workshops in the course. Each of them will have a guest speaker, an elected official. So by then, you all will not necessarily be elected by then, but certainly some of the folks who've been elected or someone who was elected could serve as a guest speaker. So look out for that. It's another program that we're bringing from Alianza Center and Alianza for Progress. I also want to acknowledge the candidates that are in the room. We started Alianza for Progress about 6 years ago. There was only a handful, not even a handful, of Latino elected officials here in Central Florida. And we thought that with the growing population that we should have more Latino elected officials in the region. And since we started out on this project, I won't say that because of us only. Obviously, it's all of the voters, all of the other organizations that work on it, on this project of bringing more activity and more participation from the Latino community, that now we have more than 25 elected officials across the I-4 corridor, and most of them here in Orange County and Osceola County. So give yourselves a hand of applause because you guys If you're here tonight, I know that you've been partners. If you're here tonight, I know that you've been partners in this great venture that we've had in the last 6 years. Again, my name is Marcos Vilar. I'm the founder and executive director of Alianza for Progress. Alianza for Progress is committed to establishing genuine relationship with the Puerto Rican Latino community, its leaders, allies, and neighbors. This commitment drives us day to day to ensure that we are constantly working to unite and improve our community. Our grassroots efforts with the Hispanic civic and political participation, our unique culture and traditions build a long-lasting power base that fights for economic, social, and environmental justice for all, everyone, every single one. Tonight, we are going to have the candidates for mayor, some of them that are here. I do want to say that we invited all 4 of the candidates, and one of them excused herself, and I want to read her note just to be fair, make sure that we are 100% transparent. This is what she said. To all who were present, I want to reiterate my gratitude for the invitation to the debate scheduled for July 15th. However, as I mentioned earlier, unfortunately, I will not be able to attend due to a previously planned activity that I cannot postpone. I appreciate your understanding and apologize for any inconvenience my absence may cause. I want you to know that my commitment to our community is genuine and that I work hard to be your voice and ally. Thank you again and best regards. With respect, Olga Cariño. So this message is from Olga Cariño. Olga Castaño, we had understood that she would be here tonight. Maybe she is running late. So we'll just, if she does arrive, we'll obviously be happy and have her participate with us. But time is of an essence, so we will get started. And before we begin, let me go through a few of the procedures that we're going to be using for the debate. Let me do something else before the rules. There's some candidates in the room. Please stand up and introduce yourself. Dr. Ivan. Just your name, please. Full name and what tu nombre completo y la posición que está corriendo.
For 17 years, I'm one of the physicians that we have in Costa America here. And we're there always.
Running for District 46.
Noel Ortiz, running for the seat number 1, city of Kissimmee.
Over here,
Jennifer Soto, running from Central Court, Osceola County. Jacqueline Centeno, good evening, running for State House Representative, District 46.
My name is Michael Cruz. I'm running for State Representative District 46.
so we could almost have the District 46 debate tonight too.
At the table.
We have more candidates for that than for mayor in the room. No, all kidding aside, we're gonna give you 2 minutes to do your opening statements. Also, we're gonna have at the end 2 minutes for closing statements. Whoever begins on the opening statements will end with the closing statement. Okay, so the closing statements will be made in the opposite order. The timekeeper, Sergio, is right here. So he'll be holding this clock right here. You can reference as I can, and the crowd won't be able to, but everybody else will be able to reference to make sure that you are following that as you respond, and we keep our answers to the time allotted. The response to the questions will last for 1 minute. Okay, so 2 minutes for intro statements, 2 minutes for the outro, and 1 minute to respond to each of the questions. Once we're going to be dealing with different sections, so different topics, and there'll be a few questions under each topic, and the audience will be able to ask questions in between. So once we finish that section, if there's a topic in that, a question in that topic that we're talking about, then raise your hand, and Diana will come to you with the microphone. It's important that you wait for the microphone because this is all being recorded, and we want to be able to hear and record your question as well as the answers from the candidates. So a few of the other things that we should note is that, and I'm sure this won't be an issue, but we gotta say it just in case, personal attacks between the candidates or from the audience to the candidates, not allowed. One of the things that I think have characterized our forums is that, you know, everybody, you always have this image, right, of the Latino room and everybody getting up, rah, rah, you know, making a, we have been blessed by excellent audiences and people that are showing the best of what our community has to offer, regardless whether you're conservative, liberal, in between, doesn't matter. These forums have been characterized by the best example of what we are as Latino people in Florida. So we want to keep it like that. And then also be mindful that we are taping this, we are recording this session tonight. It will be available live right now, folks. If you have any family members, any friends who may be interested in following along as we conduct the conversation this evening, you can let them know por su telefonito. And also, it will be living recorded on our social media. And we encourage everyone to share with your friends. This is a way to educate all of your family, all of your friends, all of your networks of folks, educate them about the candidates and what they stand for. So I'm gonna ask the audience to please turn off your cell phones, at least the beep, the noise on your cell phones. You don't have to turn off, literally turn off. Then you won't be able to text your friends. But keep the volume down so that it doesn't interrupt the conversation. Again, treat the candidates fairly. Please remain quiet throughout the forum. No clapping, no cheering. That interferes with the recording and it interferes with us being able to get the message across, not just to the folks here in the room, but out in the internet. We do not want to have, we are not allowing any literature signs inside the room, just out of respect of everybody. You're encouraged to submit any questions to the candidates at the end of each section that we're talking about, each topic that we talk about. And there will be some, if we end it early enough, we'll be able to take any questions from the audience towards the end. So if there's a question that's not covered or a topic that's not covered in the questions that we selected, if there's something that's really burning in you that you want to know, at the end, there'll be a chance for you to ask those questions. All right. Well, with that, we will begin tonight's conversation. Un aplauso, por favor, para estos dos candidatos. Ladies first. Ladies first.
Thank you. Let me start by saying thank you to everyone that's here this evening, because I think this is what represents our city of Kissimmee and our democracy. Thank you, Alianza, for what you've been doing. We would hope that more platforms would open up to allow us to express ourselves to our community. My name is Jackie Espinoza, and I'm running for Kissimmee Mayor, seat 5. And I'm doing this because I care about this community, because I've lived here, raised my daughters and my granddaughters in the audience today, because we try to teach them how to be civically engaged, try to teach them to be good humans and good citizens. I'm running for office because Kissimmee matters, because Kissimmee has so much potential. And some of us sometimes fail to see that. I always say, bless the land you walk on, and that's exactly my intention. So I make notes because I kind of veer off, and I am not good with notes. I always write bullet points because I get all in my own space I'm talking. My platform would include affordable housing, and all of us know the need we have in our local community. Homelessness, which has been a situation for so long, and will continue being unless we get good leadership, and even thereafter. We are going to talk about transportation, as well as our fire service and first responder strategic plan. That's my Kissimmee success plan. And I would just hope to get your support on or before August 10th. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Cortez. Thank you for coming. This has been a great opportunity for me. I was been here for 28 years. I was a state rep for 6 years, 3 terms. I also worked with Congressman Soto for about 2 years. So I know all levels of government that I've learned to work. The 28 years I've been here, my kids have been to middle school, high school, and every school that they've been to, and they're both Knights, UCF Knights. My main goal was when I ran for mayor twice already, and I lost. I don't want to say what happened, but it wasn't pleasant. Now, since there's more opportunity, there's more Hispanics here, it's more of an opportunity and fairness. Before it wasn't fair. Just make sure that you know how it is not to be running in a fair election. I'm here because I want the city of Kissimmee to prosper, and I don't like that we pay people $15 an hour and they still can't afford to pay their own rent. They can't even afford to pay gas for their cars. Public transportation is going to be another one that's a problem. We don't have it, if you want to call it that. Because waiting for a bus for an hour, 2 hours, I drove Lynx bus for 10 months. So I know what it is to pick up people and see what they go through every day on the bus. So it's not like I don't know what I'm talking about. I worked in the state and I tried to get things done, but I had a little situation with one of the speakers, so I got blackballed. Because he did not like my answer when I asked him about Obamacare versus his care of health that he had. So he didn't like it, so he blew up. Like the third day I was there on the thing, and from there on I got blackballed. But I co-sponsored and I kept a lot of it. So thank God I did that. And I did my job due diligence. Kissimmee comes first. Osceola came first because I was working for Osceola. Right now I'm working for Kissimmee, but I'm still working for Osceola. And I want to work with the commissioners of the county, Orlando, and St. Cloud. We need to work together because if we don't work, we don't talk to each other, we're not going to do anything. We're not going to accomplish it. And that's my intention.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Now we're gonna start the question section, and we're gonna start. I want to start by reading out some of the goals of the city of Kissimmee for 2025. One of them is economy, a stronger economy with more quality jobs. One. Another one, financially sound city providing quality services. An effective transportation system. A livable community through sustainable development and managed growth. A vibrant downtown with beautiful lakefront park. Those are some of the major goals that the current commission has laid out for Kissimmee for 2025. We're going to be talking about all of those things tonight in one way, at one point or another. But we want to start with where we left off last week. We had a great forum with 5 of the 6 candidates for sheriff. And so we're gonna start with the police and first responders. What is the state of the Kissimmee Police Department and Kissimmee Fire Department and other services in the city when it comes to safety and security? What are the most pressing safety and security issues in the city of Kissimmee in your mind? And how do you plan to address these should you be elected the next mayor of Kissimmee? And let's start with you, John.
Well, at that meeting, we talked about schools not having police officers in it, but they having security guards. And to me, that's a big name. I think we have professional officers there, period. And we should be paying our firemen, police officers, and anybody else who works at the city top dollar because you can't afford anything, like I said, $15 an hour. And the firefighters at one time were fighting for a raise, but they were only getting $15. Which is ridiculous. So we need to do something also with the unsheltered, the people who are going to be unsheltered because their pay doesn't meet up with what they live with. They still have to pay for gas in the cars, they have to eat. So we need to do something and help them out. The city's doing it. A couple of places that they have, they're turning motels into apartments, which is, so we need to do more. And I have one more thing and I lost my brain. I have to come back.
Okay. Ms. Espinosa?
Okay, so we talk about the budget of the city of Kissimmee. I'd like to bring stats, and that's just who I am as far as I run several businesses. To me, it's important to create budgets that work for the city. In that, we will include our biggest expenditures for the city of Kissimmee are police and fire. So 33% of our budget is allocated for the police department. 23% of our budget is used for fire department. So if you think about that collectively, that's 55% of our general funds that are going towards these two funds. So what are we doing to not attract more talent? We have, again, livable wages, right? We have to make sure it's a tough day when the policemen and the firefighters put their lives at risk for whatever it is that they're being paid, depends on their tier. She don't like that. My minute is up. This is a very-
So let's do one more round. One more round on the same question. So what are the most pressing safety and security issues, and what would you do as mayor?
So I would appropriate it and create more negotiations with our fire department. I think we have actually the endorsement of our fire department because they believe that we are the voice that will protect their interests. And so we have to afford through our general funds, which is a healthy fund. We have a very healthy fund in the city of Kissimmee, which is one of the reasons why we have to protect it. We have to protect our firefighters. We have to protect our first responders. That is key. My goal would be to implement different interlocal agreements as well between the city of Kissimmee, the city of St. Cloud, and the county of Osceola. I think if the three entities work together to collaborate, to create interlocal agreements for the safety of the people that our population keeps growing, and we know that. It's not going to go in the reverse direction. So we have to appropriate more funds for those two specific areas of the biggest, those are the two biggest expenditures we have as a city. I mean, right now, and I like to bring in statistics. So our total reserves is $70.7 million. Think about that. I mean, when you look at the whole thing, 10% of our funds goes to parks and recs. And I'm sorry, my minute is up again, and I'm trying to be mindful of that clock. That clock making me nervous. Thank you. Oh my God, that's a big red one.
To touch on her point, our millage, it hasn't gone up in 10 years. We're at $264 million. So somebody's doing something right. Public safety, yes, we need to keep our cops up the park, because when we had the meeting with the sheriffs, they were talking about the dispatchers not getting enough money and they're not staying and they're becoming cops. So, because they need to make money. So we need to do something with that. We need to get all our, how do I say, all our wheels turning to the right place. And we got to work with the county, city, and state, and we got to get our senators and our state representatives to do something and help us out. They are helping us out, and our federal side. Once we do that, we can work together and get things done. Because if we start doing the same thing and not doing what we're supposed to be doing, we're not going to get anything.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cortez. And from the audience, anything around the issue of security and safety? Any questions around that? Yes, over here. Your name first, please.
How you doing? Hi, everybody.
And we have a microphone for you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay, so my name is Liza. Hi, everybody. So I agree with you guys about raising. Of course, they are public service people, and my brother's a police officer, and I don't think he's fairly paid. Right? You go out, you don't know if you're going to come back home, right? So I deal a lot with homeless people, right? And we have a lot of people coming from other cities and other towns. But I also hear from them. Some of them are ex-convicts, and they continue to be penalized even after they served. Is there a program that can be done? Because I think that will chop down a little bit of everything. Like, they continue to get penalized again because they can't get a job, they can't get a house. So what are they going to do again? Crime, right? Keep the police busy. So budget in your plan to help ex-convicts out. I mean, we're human. We make mistakes. Sometimes we make stupid mistakes, but we're going to continue to make them when we continue to get that bad feedback, right? No opportunity. So is there something in your budget or in your plan for that?
As a retired correctional officer from New York City, we had plans like that in New York City. When they come out, we help them out and do that. Here, I haven't really seen too much, but they have something, but it's not enough of all the people that are here. And we can see it now with, they told me there's an island with, or by the turnpike, there's a forest in there. It's like 5,000 homeless people in there. Why are we having a touch that one? We're talking about the ones we see, but not the ones we don't see. And we're not talking just one person. We're talking families and older people, seniors, and all that stuff. And we need to help our seniors out. I'm sorry. So things like that we need to work on. And hopefully we can sit down, like I said, we sit together and brainstorm and do something and not just look at stuff. Because that's the problem. We look and don't do nothing. And everybody's, oh, blaming this guy, blaming that. No, it's no blame game. It's everybody's game.
Can I address them? Thank you. I've sat for the past 8 years on the transition house. The transition house, if you're familiar with it, we deal with incarcerated individuals that are transitioning from the system out into the general population. We don't call them inmates because out of respect for their, first of all, we have to retrain them, correct? So we call them residents. So I will, from this point on, refer to them as residents. Our residents go through a program, usually case management, which will allow them to reintegrate into our community because those are our neighbors and we have to be mindful of that. In Kissimmee, we have several housing projects that are coming out as we speak. And I wrote them down because there's several and I don't want to misspeak. We have Pinnacle, we have the project that just opened up in Dillingham. We have 120 units that have just been approved and are already at capacity with the Motel 8, that last project. Now, 80 of those units are going to be used for the regular population. 40 of them will be for the nonprofit part of it, which the 80 will cover the expenses of those 40. In a place like this, we are bringing in case management. How do you incorporate the individuals that have been down on their luck, such as our residents, is through putting them through case management. I'm sorry, my minute's up.
Thank you.
I can go on for days about that topic, so I'm sorry.
So we're actually moving into the topic of we're gonna, at the end, you can maybe add a question, but we are also moving into the discussion around affordable housing and homelessness and all of that. We all know the stories of people living in hotels endlessly in 192. That got a lot worse after Maria, but it's been many, many years since Maria. It's been 7 or 8 years since Maria. And now, like Mr. Cortez mentioned, we have, thousands of people living out in the forests. And that is not just in Osceola County, that is in Orange County, probably in many parts of Florida. Homelessness, and in the country, homelessness is on the rise almost in every single city. As someone running to become mayor of Kissimmee, where has the city failed on this topic of homelessness and affordable housing? And how would you do differently? Either one.
I would work with Park Place Behavioral, which is the mental health facility, which we know a lot of people have mental problems and need help. Also, we have families with Alzheimer's. We have families with different kinds of diseases and different kinds of illnesses that they need help with. And we need to get our nonprofits to see who is doing their job and who is not doing their job shouldn't be funded. That's what we don't do. If they're not doing their job, then why are we giving them money? We should not be funding them. We should fund people who are helping the situation, not making it worse when they don't do nothing or they steal the money. Safe to say that way, but I'm not saying anybody in here, but money disappears. So why even pay them if they're not going to do anything and they're not doing anything? Which I've been here 28 years and I've seen it. I used to work with Park Place. Park Place is a good place, but they need more help and they need more constructive criticism to get them to at that point where they're raising, not lowering.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Mrs. Espinosa.
All right, well, my plan would include an interlocal agreement with the city of Kissimmee, city of St. Cloud, the county, to create a local task force. Each entity would have to contribute, for instance, a minimum of $250,000 in annual direct funds, and that would include staff. The task force would work with the state and federal agencies as well as local nonprofits, because it's going to take all of us. You can't fix this just at the state level, at the federal level, or nonprofits. It's going to take all of us. And so the suggestion would be to create a regional one-stop processing center to streamline case management and access to support services and benefits. That's it in a nutshell, because I know that minute is ticking.
Well, I appreciate that response, and Alianza currently rents a space, an office at a Hope Community Center. And in conversations with them, we found out that they were attempting to buy a building in downtown Kissimmee that could do many of the things that you just mentioned in your response, including showers, transitional housing, so temporary housing where someone can stay until they find a better place and so forth, food, etc., healthcare, mental health, wraparound services, right? But they can't buy a building within the city limits because the zoning is not allowing them to use that building that they could buy. They have the resources to buy it, but they couldn't. How do other cities manage this situation with homelessness, and why is Kissimmee so reluctant to help this population in so much need?
Maybe because they need the right mayor in place. That's why. Sorry. That was a burn. I believe that the commission is the one that can help direct that. And that's why we need a commission, a board, a body that can act cohesively to support the incentives put forward, to request federal and state funding, to direct our city manager to do that. And that's the problem. How are other cities doing it and we're not? It's simple. You need to vote in the correct commission body. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Espinosa. Un bombito al teacher. Uno para ti también. Es la misma pregunta. Same question.
Well, I was always taught the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If we don't speak on it, we don't talk to our politicians who aren't doing anything, then you're not going to get anything done. And like she stated, we gotta work together like a task force. If we don't get a task force together, then it's going to be all the same thing. One person's going to get the blame, the other one's not going to get the blame, and nothing's going to get done. I'm tired of this already. We try to do something and nobody wants to work together. It's about money. Well, money's got to stop somewhere, and you're not going to get it if you don't do your job. And that's what I think we should be doing. You don't do your job, you're a 501(c)(3), you don't get any more money, you're done. You get somebody else who's going to do the job, or give it to somebody who's already doing the job and make him do it better. And that's about it. We got to do something together. And you got your leaders have to be leaders. They're not leaders. And why are they there?
There was a question in the back.
I wanted to let you guys know that Mr. Alvarez, city commissioner, is here.
How's everybody doing? Good evening. I just came by to see a debate. I want to see who's going to be elected if I'm running for office again. Who's going to be my colleague, and their decisions that they make affects the whole, the whole board of the commission. So I'm here and I support you guys. Come out here, do what you got to do tenderly, and kind of address the community, because that's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about you guys. We're not here to, for wealth. We're not here for publicity. We're not here for, for entitlement, but yet we're here to represent your people. And it will be better for us as a body, as a commission, to have folks more come into our meetings so you can have your concerns. Because most of the time, like they said, people come, they make complaints here, they have issues here, but nobody comes in. Nobody comes to our meetings. You have to attend meetings and do this in a fashion way where we all get involved. So thank you for letting me speak, I guess. But again, I'm going for re-election, and I'm doing what I got to do as a commissioner. Thank you.
Sir, in the back, you had a question before. Would you like to ask your question now? In the end? Okay. Anyone else on the issue of homelessness and housing? Yes.
Yeah, and I know personally both of you guys, but my question is, right now, just give an example. There's a hotel converted into a housing community for affordable housing, and their issue is that county-wise, they have those impact fees on every unit that they have to do. So just to give you an example, you have an impact fee of $15,000, and by the end of the day, you're spending $25, $35 million just to renovate a hotel to convert it into affordable housing. As a city, I know the county is a little bit different, but as a city, how do you guys plan on working with these impact fees that we have? That they're outrageous. They're ridiculous. You know, you try to fix up a house or one of the units from the hotels, and it's going to cost you more than what an original house is going to cost you. So how do you guys feel about that? The impact fees that are going on to those units?
You wanna go? I know the guy you're talking about.
Yes.
The fees are not 15,000, it's 23,000 per studio, and he has a 402. So figure how much that is.
Millions of dollars.
That's, yes, millions of dollars. So well, everybody's gonna have to get together and bang their heads together with the county, city, state, and federal, because we have them all here. We have all representatives, of all four. And we gotta sit down and talk how we're gonna fix this problem. Because if we don't fix this problem, we're not gonna get anywhere. $23,000 for a studio apartment and impact fees, and nobody's gonna come here to build. We're not gonna progress. Businesses are not gonna come here because they're not gonna get workers. Because the ones that are living into these rooms are people that are making $15, $16 an hour. And if they ain't got a place to live, they're gonna be homeless because there's no other choice. So we gotta do something collectively together, like she said, get a task force and let's do it together, sit down and talk and break our heads together.
Okay, they reset us. Impact fees, you could do a buy down on that, but the pay and go was signed into effect some time ago. And unfortunately, when the impact fees are paid, it's a pay and go. A lot of people have suggested that we do a moratorium until things balance out. Problem with a moratorium, and a lot of people don't understand the moratoriums, they are not indefinite. They are they have to be finite. You have to give it a certain allowable time. So a moratorium is only good if we plan to give it a 6 month, a 1 year, whatever the finite time is. And that will allow us to perhaps reset. If the county did it, it would help the city. But if the county did it, the city wouldn't have to do it because they would put a moratorium. That's not always the answer because once it's paid, it's paid. And you can't stop people from building because that's why they pay the impact fees. But in the meantime, there's an option of a buy down. And I think that's also something that could be looked at. Thank you. Right on time.
Right on point.
That minute has me great.
One more question from the crowd over here.
Yes, we.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Jackie. I have a question. What is your position regarding the decision the City Commission made to let a non-qualified person run as a candidate for the City of Kissimmee? What do you think about the commission? They don't defend the charter. The commissioner, he said that, oh, the people, they don't show up, but that day everybody showed up.
Mhm.
Everybody was there, and they don't defend the charter of the City of Kissimmee. So, you guys agree with the decision?
No.
I'm gonna put that. Is it a yes or no answer?
Yes.
Yes or no answer?
I'm
So,
following.
okay, we can do yes or no answers on that one. And then if you want to expand on the question, we could do it at the end because it's off the subject that we were discussing according to the
Okay.
rules. Okay, so yes or no?
No.
Okay, so they both don't agree on the decision. We can address it at the end as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for the question.
Moving on to economic development. What initiatives would you put in place to create opportunities for small businesses, especially Hispanic-owned businesses, to partake in city contracts and to ensure existing business within the city can thrive in this economy? My understanding is that of all the contracts, it's something like 1% of the contracts are going to Hispanic contractors in the city and in the county. That approximately, it's some ridiculously low number. It might not be 1%, but it's ridiculously low. So what would you do to encourage more contracts with his community?
Thank you.
Ladies first.
Thank you. We do have a situation where there's totally a lack of going towards the Hispanic community or any minority for that matter, not just the Hispanic community. I'm talking about minorities in general. I think part of the reasoning is because it's not out there. It's not being made public enough. We don't know about it, and we don't know. We won't apply for what we don't know, right? So I think a lot of it is kept perhaps not disclosed. And I don't want to say, I mean, I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist here, right? Because we've all had those moments. I've had my moments, and you all know my history in politics. So I'm not going to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I do know that unless you know about these opportunities that are out there, how would you know to apply for them? And that's the biggest challenge. What I would do is create a resource department to be able to come out to the community, to be able to communicate this to you. Just like small businesses had the opportunity to apply for certain grants during the COVID times. Those grants had to be made aware of to the community. We went door knocking to our neighbors to let them know there was $5, $10, $20,000 because it was important that each one of them would have the opportunity to apply for those specific benefits and resources. And I know the minute is way up. I'm sorry.
Having worked for Congressman Soto for about 2 years, I was the one in charge of outreach. All the stuff that he told me to do, I did, and one of those was that, letting them know what the grants were, where they were, and how to get them on the Fed side, not on the city or the county side. And that's where we did something wrong, because we could have said, we did tell them about the city and the feds, but we pushed more the federal side because we got more money from the feds. But we should have pushed more on the city, the counties, and everything else that we get where you get money for anything that you needed, which was all federal monies. But we should be doing that right now, and we should all be including and talking and speaking, and most and Hispanics, African American. We should be getting together and giving all this information out and saying, yes, let's do this. Let's get this information out so you can go out there and apply for it and get it, especially for loans for your homes, things like that, to fix them, and bathrooms.
Thank you. Yes.
To follow up specifically on that, I know with Osceola County, which trickles down into city, over 220 million annually goes out for small business contracts for goods and services. Out of the last 2 years, just last year, I believe there was less than 534,000 of the 220 million went to Hispanic-owned business, which make up more than 50% of our overall small businesses in the county. Those are the things. So what kind of programs would you address to, like, you know, we're talking about huge generational wealth that has been missed in our community because of the decisions of these boards and the lack of communication, letting them know that these procurement opportunities are out there. How would you resolve that?
Do you want me to answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
You have the Chamber of Commerce right behind you, Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. You got the Chamber. You got other entities. They can go to meetings. They can go ask questions, go online, call me up. I'd be glad to answer. I'm not one of the guys that don't talk. I'm the local, vocal, approachable guy. I didn't have nobody come to my office and have to have an appointment to come see me. No, I didn't play that game. You came to see me. I came to give you answers, and I gave it to you. If I didn't know, I told you right to your face, I don't know, but I could find out for you. That's what we need. We need people like me to tell you, listen, I can't do it. I'm going to find somebody for you to do it. And we're going to find out how we're going to do this. And we're going to help everybody, not just the Hispanic community. But if this Hispanic community is getting beat down, why are we letting them? We should be fighting back, which we're not doing too good, which we got to do.
Procurement, that's the key word right here, procurement. We need a department that can focus on procurement for minority businesses. And until we get that, and until we get someone to lead that, then we are still where we're at, because generational wealth, which is the key word here, is at risk. If we're not putting this before our generations, then we're doing nothing. Who are we serving for? We're serving for our generations. We can't do that unless we procure these contracts, and that's procurement. And I think that's where we lack. We just don't understand the terms, and we can talk about all the different cultures, but we have to educate them on what this means. That's part of the challenge. You speak to a minority business and you talk to them about procurement, and you lost them at the word.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with educating village. That's the challenge. But in order to educate a village, you need warriors that are not going to stop. And that's why I'm the right person for that job. Thank you.
We have a question here
Sorry,
from
John.
Jorge from the chamber, and then we'll go to
I'll
you,
get you.
and
Okay,
we'll
good.
then continue to the next question over here. We have
So-
only
so the
two of the
question.
candidates here tonight, so I think it's gonna move a little quicker, and there'll be more opportunities for the people in the audience to raise their hand and ask their questions. But we're still going with the program, so we'll go back and forth, take a few questions from the audience, and then go back to our planned questions. Is that okay? Jorge?
Yes, thank you very much, Jorge Figueroa with the Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce of Central Florida. And you're absolutely right. We are actually taking steps to educate and make sure that some of our small businesses within the county and the city get their minority certification to help, as well as educating on how to submit an RFP, a request for proposal. But one of the things that you touched on that I have been communicating with the county and the city is the communication. And everything every time you touch on the subject, they send you to the website that is not user friendly, that you need about 15 clicks to get to a page. All right, you have somebody working
know.
in the communications department who doesn't communicate with the community. A lot of these bids, opportunities, or contracts are posted because by law they got to post them in the media. They usually post them in the Orlando Journal Sentinel. So how are businesses in the Osceola, Kissimmee area are going to learn about them? And I know that they do that because I'm in one of the commissions for Affordable Housing Finance Authority, and that's what they do. And so are we working for the county, for the city? So what would you do to make sure that, communication is correct, that the message actually goes out and it doesn't stay within our website?
Well, that situation, if I got a good staff, I got a good staff that's going to work on the website, going to answer the questions and ask people to call in and ask me the questions so I can put them on the website so I can help other people, and call period, or come to the office. I'm not going to, like I told you, I don't have appointments. I know I'm not the one who's going to be running the city because it's this county, the city manager, but I'm going to be the one supposed to be talking to you, the individual. And I'm not going to let that happen because I didn't let it happen when I was working for the state and when I was working for SODA. If I had talked to you, I talked to you. I never had a problem talking to people. I don't know what's the problem. You can't talk to people. And then you learn how to fix things when you talk to people because that's how you learn. And I'm not a major guy on the website, so I have to learn too. That's why I need the staff.
Okay, so you talked about RFPs, and I think that's an important topic to discuss, right? Because if you don't submit the RFPs appropriately, they are on that website, but they're also on that website called Demand Star. Without going through Demand Star, you can't get to most of them because that's the website you have to go through. Problem is, again, we're not putting the information out there. A company or an organization like yours is the perfect segue, and there's a perfect partnership to be able to, yours and others, to be able to educate the community with these resources specifically, because first problem is we don't know where to begin looking. Second problem is if there is a breakdown in the communication, have we brought this to the commission, and has the commission, have they done anything about it? Because this is a concern for the general constituents, right? If they haven't, then we've got to bring it back to the commission because a vote of 3 will take care of adjusting perhaps the IT system. Is it a comprehension problem from the person logging in? Maybe we don't understand computers the way that the millennials do. I mean, you say you don't understand the computers. To a certain point, the millennials, my daughter will work
That's why I
circles
said
around that, right? My
understand.
9-year-old granddaughter will
Understand.
work circles around them. But it is what it is. We've got to put that information out there.
It's good.
There was a question in the back over
That was
here.
good.
Hello, my name is Ruben Anderson. I'm also running for City Commissioner seat 3. But Mike, I think you've already answered the question. Because of the 1% of generational wealth that's just we're receiving, and we should be able to compete with each and every person that lives in Kissimmee. But my question is this: will you hold town halls to make sure that we do educate the people at least once a month? Just, being a mayor, and I'm going to be city commissioner. are you able to say, yeah, I'll hold town halls so that we can educate the people and even teach the people about computers, you know?
My answer is yes.
My answer is yes. I already host millions of town halls. If you know, there's always a town hall going out somewhere, right? But I believe in that type of communication. It's important to hear the people in addition to the commission meetings.
Okay.
Hi, I just want to make the comment, when you all said, I think, Ms. Jackie said, minority business department. And I just want, since we're in the room, minority business include, business owned by women, Hispanic, and African American. So we need to stop saying Hispanic. If we're, and I like that term, a minority business department, so that everyone can be included. And we just have to stop this ethnicity division. Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate your listening very carefully and appreciate your statement. One of the things for us at Alianza has been that being the largest, group in the region, particularly even within the Hispanics, the Puerto Ricans, oftentimes the least opportunities are available for the largest group. And I'm not saying that that we should be the only ones. Obviously, what your point is valid and it's taken. There is plenty of resources somewhere. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so much wealth in so many places and so little wealth in other places. So part of it is information, but also it's work. And we cannot also, I think, as a community that's growing, expect for everything to be so easy that it's done for you. So part of it is our job, right? Part of it is our job to run for office. And one of the things that happens what's happening now is a lot of the people that are running for office are new. They're new. And they're the first generation in their community that's in office. It's not like other communities where you have generations and grandparents and great-grandparents and great-great-grandparents who were all in politics and were the ones who designed, right, how things run here in Osceola and Orange County. We're new here. And so it behooves us as Latinos, as African Americans, as all our neighbors. Our mission is for us and our neighbors. Hello. The African community is our neighbor community, and also white people who've been here for since the foundation of Osceola. They're our neighbors too, right? We're all neighbors, and part of the problem that we're living in the society right now is, like you say, all the division and those Americans and these Americans and those. No, we all are neighbors, and we all go to the same schools, drive on the same roads, go to the same hospitals, right? Those are all, it's our infrastructure, it's our city, it's our space, and we need to all take care of it. But it also means that we have to work hard. We just got here. Yeah, it shouldn't have to be that we have to work twice as hard, but maybe a third or maybe a quarter harder because we have to catch up, right? We have this normal. I think it's normal part of coming to a place for the first time. Now, I'll stop there and get back to the questions, but thank you for your comments. John said something about good staff in the last round of questions, right? You said something about good staff. And Kissimmee runs as a weak mayor city where the city manager makes most of the decisions for the city of Kissimmee. He's the strong executive, has the power behind most of the decisions that take place in the city. The city manager, if I'm not mistaken, is hired by the city commission, right? And the mayor, right? And they approve whatever plans the city manager brings to the city, correct? So in that scenario, how is it that coming in new to politics and coming in new to a system that really is heavy on the staff, how can we ensure that that staff has the changes that you all and we have in mind for our city?
Let me answer. Well, I'm coming from experience from being a state rep. where I didn't know anything until I got up there and learned. It's a learning curve. And if you don't like the staff you got there, you got to talk to the other commissioner and say, okay, it's time for this guy to go. He's no good. He's not doing what I'm asking him to do. He's not doing what you're telling him to do. He's got to go. He's not doing anything for the people. We work for the people. I don't work for myself. So I'm not going to make a decision without the other four. And if the other four are not there, then maybe I'll have to make a decision. But you need a collective decision done. So making sure that the city for everybody here works right and done right and fairly. Because there's a lot of problems in Florida and things are not done fairly. And I've seen it in the 28 years I've been here. So we need to work on that. And that's my 10 cents.
Thank you. Ms. Espinosa.
All right, the city should run like a business, and a business requires a CEO. The city manager is the CEO.
Yeah.
It also requires a board. The city commissioners are the board. So we shed direction for the city manager, for the CEO. The staff, if we're not happy with the staff, it's still going to take 3 votes to remove or modify anything. It's not going to take, just because I'm not happy, I don't have that power. It's going to take 3 people to do that.
That's right.
So just so that we're clear on how that runs. The city itself, are we in a position of a positive position, having a CEO running our city? I believe we are. I believe we are, because it doesn't give like Orange County, for example, the mayor would have sole discretion on those decisions. Having a board creates a lot more equity and a lot more fairness. And it would allow us to speak on behalf of the people. That's my position on that.
Exactly.
You agree, Mr. Cortez?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So moving along, how do you plan to bring a livable wage to the city? We see a lot of, interesting developments like Neo City, where they plan to, or where they just got a grant to build microchips here in Osceola County.
Been there.
In Poinciana, or in between Poinciana and Kissimmee, there's a factory being proposed to do solar panels and solar batteries, electric batteries,
You're going to
for the solar. How do we continue, or is that a good thing? One, how do we continue it if it's good? And third, how do we make sure that the students that are here in Osceola are lined up to get those great jobs that are coming with those industries that are coming into Osceola County, and not people coming from out of state to come in and parachute and displace or take away those jobs from people that are already here and need those good paying jobs? Again? It was kind of long.
That's a 5-part question, and we're supposed to answer it in 1 minute. Explícame.
Well, my answer would be, if you're building in Kissimmee or Osceola County, period, and you know about it, your job is to get over there and apply for the job. Don't wait for somebody else to get there before you. You go get the job, because you're living here and it's going to make it easier for you. So I would go try to get the job. But if you see it's not fair, then you got to make a complaint. So, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. That's why you get the media, you got the Facebook, and now you got TikTok and all this other stuff you got. So you make a complaint. It's got to help you out somehow. But you're the person who's looking for the job. You got to get out there and get the job. You went to school for this. You want the jobs, high paying jobs. They're not cheapo jobs. These are good jobs. And then anything else that comes behind you, then you might get lucky.
Thank you. Ms. Espinosa?
That's a loaded question. And I'm going to tell you, Neo City and the area in Poinciana we have nothing, we can't touch that because it's not city limits. So with that being said, those jobs are nice and we would have to drive there. But reality is, what can we create within our city limits? And within the city limits, we have, and I'm going to go right to this point, which perhaps it's a little bit out of but we have first responders. We have jobs for policemen. We have jobs for firefighters. We have to make those jobs available and a lot more feasible for our society, our community. Additionally, we have Valencia, and that's within our limits, and we have to prepare the youth for and the older. But then we have someone like FTC where they'll create these programs. We have to prepare the people that are coming into our city to excel, and you can't do that without preparing them through education. That's the first part. So you can't go just apply for a job unless you have the proper tools to apply for those jobs. I can't go pretend to be a physician if I don't have the proper, I can't be Dr. Ivan. I can't be Attorney Michelle LeBron back there. You have to have the proper training, the proper tools. And we as a city need to develop that. We have some right here, right in our city. So going outside of our city might not be the answer. Staying right here. Sorry.
Any questions from the audience on this topic of economic development?
Education, love that topic. Oh, thank you. Not only am I the executive director, I also am the chairman of the Hispanic Business Coalition here for the Osceola Chamber. So one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to have this meeting here is because I've got 1,400 students at my campus, and we put out over 850 graduates a year over the last 2 years that will directly impact the local community here within a 10-mile radius of my campus. So my question to both of you is, what message should I bring back to my students that the next mayor should have for them in terms of how to be prepared to go into the workforce here in Osceola County?
Make sure you give me the goodies that are done. No, I would just say, do what you're doing. If you're happy with what you're doing, it's not a job. Seek it out. And if you don't like it, go try something else. You're young. You're not going to get stuck in one job. They always told me, if the job is what you like, it's not a job anymore. It's something you like and you'll do better. But there's always a job. And getting back to the police department and all that, they're looking for kids to come from high school to become cops, firemen, and correction officers. You can join there too if you want to be in law enforcement and other things, state troopers, all that stuff. So, there's things out there, but you got to make the choice. If you're the person who's looking for the job and if you're the student, it's up to you. You can be what you want to be. Like, don't join the military. No, I'm only kidding. The military is good for you too. Great training. All my uncles were Navy.
Can I answer, Martin?
No, I'm waiting for you.
Thank you. Dr. Levert, if I were standing before your students, I would say continue studying. Before you do that, set goals. You have to set goals, achievable and attainable goals, and then work towards them. I understand education is the key to opening up that generational wealth right there. Without that, we have nothing. I always tell my children, if I leave them what I have created, I leave them nothing. The only thing I can leave them is an education. So I'm a proponent and an advocate for it. That's pretty much what I would say.
Good evening. My name is Andrew Bain, and I'm the state attorney here in the 9th Judicial Circuit, covering both Orange and Osceola County. And so one of my biggest sayings is education is crime prevention. So the degrees that you need for these new jobs is called advanced manufacturing. It's Gateway and all the companies that are here making the chips. Those people want those advanced manufacturing degrees that they have at Valencia. It's a free degree for our kids that graduate here in Osceola because of the tuition that's paid from the county. So how are we both, one, pushing our kids towards that goal here in the city? And then two, how are we then, there are always auxiliary things that come with manufacturing and building. So how are we building more entrepreneurship businesses for these young people, especially to go towards, instead of hanging out with me, which is where they will do if they don't have anything to do. So, which I don't want that. I would like them to be successful in life. And so it gives me less things to do at my office.
Well, in New York, we used to go from high school to work. When we went to college, we went to college to work. And that's what I did. I went to John Jay College for I was trying to be forensic science. And I went to work, went to college, then I became a correction officer. That was the end of college. I don't want that to happen to any student. I want you to finish college. I want you to, if you don't like what this corrections was, not a joy. I did it for 15 years, but I did it. I made it a career. But you can be a career, and if you don't like it, you can switch because you're still going to school and you're advancing yourself. Once you advance yourself, then you can probably get a job anywhere you want. You want to become a doctor, a scientist, whatever you want. Whatever you want to do, it's up to you, the person, the individual person, with the help of your guidance as a teacher and a professor, which I appreciate them a lot because they taught me a lot about life. And that's what we should be doing, giving them an opportunity to learn and think think for themselves what they want to do, but don't push them too much because then they're gonna get disgusted with you and they're gonna say, "No, I'm not doing this." But give them a chance to mess up. We always got to mess up somehow. That's how we learn in life. But like I said, if you're going to college, you want to go to work, do it. But do it with something that you like, because then it's not a job.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Espinosa?
Education is crime prevention. I like that. Thank you for sharing that. I think I'm gonna use that.
Education is fine.
And honestly, I think that as a city, we at Parks and Rec have several programs that we offer during the summer for the kids to keep them off the streets, to keep them busy. We go as far as Chambers Park and in certain areas that we need to be involved in. I think we as a city need to create more of those programs to facilitate the youth of today to get involved on their spare time, on their free time. Like the summer months are the toughest months, right? And because there's no school in session, it would create with now they're a little more free at will. I'd much rather not have them learn through the school of hard knocks. I'd much rather have them busy and creating goals and expectations. And I think as a city, we should be preparing more programs to allow our youth to excel. We have to set them up for success. And that's my goal, is to set up programs with my fellow commissioners to create programs for our students and our children and our young adults to succeed.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience over here?
Just going through all this information. My name is Anna. I live in Kissimmee. My husband and I live there. And talking about education, my daughter, she works at a nonprofit organization that is called MLT. Any sophomore or freshman in any college can contact them and get information. And this is for minorities. You know, all minority students, they can call, talk to a recruiter, and they can work with, different companies once you graduate to go to the workforce. So sometimes people don't know these things. It's lack of information. But there is many companies that do that. You just need to go to the right place.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for that comment. Thank you.
Yes. Another question over here.
Hi, my name is John Ramirez, and I've lived in Kissimmee for 34 years. And my question is based off of division. We've seen recently the attempt on former President Trump's life, and it's gotten so bad, not just on a national level, it's also down on a local level, where we define ourselves by colors, and now we've become the Crips and the Bloods. And especially in Kissimmee, Kissimmee is not defined by Democrats and Republicans anymore. If you define it like that, you're losing. And so we need to stop the division. And so my question to the candidates is, how are you going to bring about not only unity, but as you said, as a board, you can be mayor, but it's still going to take 3 votes to get something done. How do we look at our board of city commissioners, those who will be running, those who are currently commissioners? How are we going to look to you for the confidence to know that not only will you be representing us, but you have our best interests at heart?
Thank you. Well, inclusivity, right? We talk about it, but do we really live it? And that's important. I think as a board of city commissioners, we've got to extend that message and send that message, because the problem is we're divided within, right? And united we stand, right? And then that's really how it should be. I think one of the challenges we face is that we all have to agree to disagree many times. And we all want to prove points, and that's not getting us anywhere. And I think you made this comment about Democrats and Republicans, and I think as long as they keep us arguing, they don't allow us to focus on the real issues. And we've all got to come to the middle. We've all got to come and reach across the table and say, we are here for the constituents, and in my case, for the city of Kissimmee. And so as long as we are focused and don't lose focus on who we are here to serve, we'll be okay.
I got a great example for you. When I worked with your father to get the single member districts for the county, that was an issue for everybody. And we finally did it. Why? Because it was needed. Because a lot of things were going underhandedly and things were not getting done. People were being left out. And I could keep going when it was not single member districts. Voting was not even, forget about it. It's terrible. So if we don't open our mouths and do like I always say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, we're not going to get anything. And we got to get the counties and all the other, everybody else's federal side and state, we got to get together and start working together for the people, because the word for the people is a big thing, which we're not using and we're not doing. If you're not going to be for the people, then why are you running?
The back. We have one other section left, but the fact that we just have two candidates up here tonight has actually made it go half as quickly.
Should have given us an extra minute. I would have taken my candidate's minute. It's a 1 minute thing. I'm so anxious looking at him.
I didn't get that.
She's doing a lawyerese.
Hi, good afternoon or good evening. So we have a small problem in the police department and the fire department, and it's not people coming in, it's trying to retain people. Last year's contract was below par, and this year's contract just made it on par. I think it's a big deal that we ask our citizens that we don't want kids from the academy with zero years of experience coming in, both police and fire academy, and saving someone's life, because experience matters a lot. Our question is, how are we going to maintain our guys? Because other departments, other cities are paying better, have more vacation, and the guys don't live here. They travel from long distances to make it here, and they're putting a lot of time to, help the city. So how are we going to retain our guys, and how are we going to recruit good employees as well? Yes, we want the cadets and we want to educate them, but we need to keep the big guys here with experience to help everyone here.
As being a former union, COBA, it's Correctional Officer Benefit Association, your union, which Florida is not for unions, we already know that. It's a right to work state. But I got to give Kissimmee kudos. Kissimmee talks to its people, because I've been here 20 years and I've seen the different ones, but still not enough money, because we just had the sheriff's thing the other day and things got to be changed. And I would suggest that you sit down with the commissioners you got now, make sure you made your voices are heard, because you're going to say, listen, if you don't take care of us, we're all going to leave. You're going to have nobody here. Because I heard it's 850 office, 8,500 officers versus 100,000 or something like that. And how are you going to run an operation like that? You're going to need mutual assistance from the county, feds, everybody to help in, if you have a major problem. So what are we doing? This scares me, because something going to happen and we don't need this to happen. We need to all be safe here. That's what we're supposed to be dealing with. Making safety for you, for me, and everybody here. If we don't do that, then you shouldn't be a leader to be here. And that's what we should be doing. And I'd like to talk to you later about this.
All right. So I had notes for the firefighters specifically, because what I would do for the firefighters, and we thank you for the endorsement, because that meant so much to us. I know you guys work really hard for your candidates, and I would increase pay. I would definitely try to get some more time off, because I think that's important for the firefighters, because the schedule, in case some people don't know, the firefighters have a very different schedule. They don't work a 9 to 5. They kind of work around a very, very interesting schedule, which doesn't allow quality of life with the family and other things. So it's important. But I would have to ask for it to be offset by charging the county for the overlapping coverage, because I think part of it is that we've got to, that's where that interlocal agreement comes in with the county. We've got to work closer, because you all respond, even the city, right? You all responding to county. It's whomever's available first. And so is it fair? No, it's not. And so I think we have to work to create fairness for our fire department, because you're right. If you get all the cadets, the lack of experience is there. So you want to try to get recruiting where we could bring them in from, or that they don't at least leave us to go to another county, which is what we're seeing a lot with because of more pay. So I think that's important to create better quality of life for the firefighters as well as more pay. And that's going to have to involve the county. And so that's what I would propose.
Thank you, Ms. Espinosa. We're going to end with our last subject, and then we can take some more questions from the audience. And this is, we start out with security and safety. Now we're going to end with another hot one, and that is transportation. Everyone in Kissimmee and in Central Florida in general, but especially if you're in this part of town, you know how it is to get from one place to the other, especially during rush hour, right? So how much of a problem is traffic and city in the region? We all know that. With the increasing traffic, what is your plan to balance that with other things that are maybe creating that traffic, like development? Is there a balance that can be reached between those two things? And what do we do about transportation? Has it improved since the trains stations have been set up, or do we need more trains? What are your ideas around transportation here in the region?
Well, as far as transportation, I got an email because I used to work for Solo. He sent me an email. He got money for more buses in Kissimmee. I forgot how much money it was, but it's a good chunk. As far as transportation for, you got the freebie, but I don't know, the freebie, I figure you should make more mini buses and use that instead of those little cars. Because to me, it's a waste of money. I think we should have the little mini buses and they can take more people to do more things and take them to work. Because that the whole thing is having a transportation system is getting to work. And as far as development, okay, if you're going to develop, why don't you do the roads first before you develop? Because if you make the roads in and out, how are we going to get there? And parking, because people are parking both sides of the street. In the regular developments, they can't even move on their own development. I've seen this. So why are we enforcing things like this? And why are we making it easier for developers to listen to us, say, listen, you do this, then you can build all you want, but you got to build roads for us. You got to help us build roads, and it's got to come out of your pocket, not the taxpayer. Because that's why we're having all these problems. And see what happens. Because then talk about maybe the millage rate. All right, so if you're going to help us with the roads, maybe we can do something about the millage rate. Instead of be paying 23,000, maybe you could pay like 10 or 11. Things like that, give them a little up the ante of what we're going to do to make things better. Because traffic is forget about it.
Ms. Espinosa?
All right, let's address the freebie, and I'm going to try to do all of this in 1 minute. The freebie, it's darn minute. This freebie only works within our local little area up until Medical City, so that's not going to alleviate us at all. That's actually, most people don't even know about it. It's good for the locals, though, so that's okay. Put that aside. Sunrail, we have something so valuable right in our downtown, so let's talk about Sunrail. The city does not get affected by the money right now, and I'm going to try to nutshell this. If we could expand the hours of Sunrail,
yes,
weekends and evenings, a little later, other than when they have games over at downtown, and they'll extend it a little more. That's part of the solution right there. So many people use the Sunrail, and I know because we use it to get out to Winter Park or wherever else. So Sunrail might be something that we can eventually discuss at longer depths. It's so tough to talk about these little pockets of things because it's very superficial. We can't really get or delve into it. I mean, there's just so many other areas to talk about impact fees and development. We're never going to be able to cover that in a 1 minute forum. So it's tough to just leave it open because it could create misunderstandings. But I'd like to know that there's definitely things we could look at to improve
I think
transportation.
we can do a second round on this one.
Yeah.
think there's a lot to continue talking. Mr. Cortez?
Well, she brought up the train, so why aren't we using the Bright Line more? Because now you can go to Miami. They're supposed to be bringing here. You go to Miami, go to Melbourne, go to Deltona. I mean, all that stuff. Why are we, if the money's there from the feds, we got to grab it and snatch it and do it. And the state's going to give some money, then we should do it. We already lost it because of a certain individual, I'm not going to mention his name, who was going to go straight down I-4 and was going to be right there. The train was supposed to go. What happened to that? He refused. So, things like that. We got to watch the politicians you're putting in here. If they don't want to do it, then they shouldn't be leaders. Because this is not helping you out. It's a hindering you.
Ms. Espinosa?
So I want to talk about the solution, and the solution is to get people to sit at the table and discuss the options. And that would be, Brightline is a great tool, but going to Miami, I would see Brightline more as an opportunity to bring people into our city to support our local businesses, right? So that's where we probably, and it's a fairly new thing, so we would have to understand that we're learning about it and the opportunities that come with it. So Brightline is certainly an opportunity to bring people into our business, into our downtown for our respective businesses. But we're talking about local traffic, local situations that affect us day to day. It would have to be, options like Brightline. It's nice to know that Lynx is going to afford more buses. But we need to get people out of, reality is there's other topics that could be discussed on that. Sunrail and the reason I keep talking about Sunrail is because there's a stop right in the middle of our downtown. So how important is that if we understood the value of it and if we understood the magnitude of how it could open up different doors for us? So I think that's something that we all need to get together collectively. And if the county would allow us to partner differently with that's also an option.
So both of you mentioned the federal money, infrastructure, IRA, transportation. Those are big programs that passed in Congress and it's really made available for the whole country, billions and billions and billions of dollars. The question is Kissimmee taking advantage of those programs? If not, or if so, even if so, what would you do to take advantage of those programs coming to the city of Kissimmee specifically?
I think we have to work with the different, like state and federal. I don't think that's something that we can address at a city level because it just isn't. It doesn't. It's not within our budget. So I could talk about the budget all day long, but I can't make money happen from the budget to appropriate to that because it doesn't come from there. You know what I mean? So it would be senseless to try to address it like that. It just wouldn't make.
Well, having worked with the federal side, the city gets the money from the feds and gets the money from the counties. But the federal side, our boss, our representative, which is Soto, has to ask for it, and he has to go through all these rigmarole meetings and stuff just to get the money for us. And you have to help him request it and give him the information. If you don't give him the information, he's not going to know what you want and what you need. So you got to talk to them. You got to talk to the county. And, they got to give you a piece of that pie so the whole pie can be done, and then you can get the monies. So then you can get things done. If you, like I said, the squeaky wheel gets the grease, and you got to talk to the right people. And if you work collectively together, it'll get done.
So the question again is Kissimmee doing a good enough job of going through the Congress, Congressman Soto,
as far as I saw, yes.
the county and the state in order to access?
Yes, they're trying to do the best they can.
Okay.
And hopefully they'll do better because it's a learning curve, and we need to do more.
Okay.
I think some city commissioners sit on some regional boards, right? Such as the Metro Plan, right? I have notes here, Central Florida Expressway Authority. Right? So we have to have stronger lobbying efforts. The end. It's really that simple. We have to have stronger lobbying efforts.
Communication that you were talking about, the interlocking agreements.
Interlocal agreements and stuff. And if we have city commissioners sitting on these boards, then we have to create better lobbying efforts. And without that, we're not moving the needle.
Are there any questions in the audience around transportation? Yes. On other topics? Okay.
Well, you mentioned again, that we know that a lot of the budget from the city comes from the county, right? And it comes, the county provides some money to the cities. How's the relationship, the working relationship between the city of Kissimmee and the city of St. Cloud, for that matter? I heard that they have issues with the county too, where a lot of the funding stays within, it trickles down from the federal government to the state to the county, but it doesn't always get to the city. Do you see that as a problem? Is there a communication or a relationship problem within the city of Kissimmee and the county that is not allowing for these funds to get to where it's needed?
We as a city have our own millage rate. So it's not, we don't expect the money we have our own. Ours, if it's okay, I have that as a matter of fact, because it's within our budget. Our city millage rate is 4.625, but our total millage rate, which is county and city, it also includes your school, your water management district, it's about 17.52. Our millage rate is where we get all the funds to be able to create our budget. So creating interlocal agreements, that's for for subject matters, not necessarily for this, is what I'm trying to say. Does that make sense?
And I think we have I'm sorry, were you gonna?
I was just gonna say, it's mostly for projects. If they got a project and you want to do it for the future, that's when you start talking to these guys and up in federal, county and everything, they'll get together, then the projects get done. If you don't talk, like I said, the squeaky wheels got to get the grease, and you got to talk. It's all about money that's being given, and you tell them, okay, we need this. I saw this in the news, and they said that we can get it, and we do something, and talk. The commissioner's got to talk to everybody else. It's all about talking.
Do you have a? Okay. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Explain the
I have
millage.
the expert over here.
So the millage rate is all, it comes, I mean, we all pay taxes, right? So it all comes from your taxes. And some of it comes from your, I mean, the millage rate is, and I'm a real estate broker by trade, so I kind of understand it, and you're right. Sometimes we just get caught up in the fact that we understand it, where it comes from. But when you're discussing the property taxes, only what's within our city limits is where we would benefit from, right? That's where we get the property taxes, and that's where the funds would be appropriate. That's where they get all collected. I mean, it just comes from our property taxes. So that's more or less, it's just divided in certain portions. I can delve into it, and then I just don't want to get so wordy that then I confuse everyone with it.
It's basically a portion of the tax that you
Right.
pay for your
Property
property.
taxes.
Okay.
Property taxes.
Did you wanna?
No, she hit it on the head.
Okay. All right. We're gonna take a question from
Yes.
from online, from the internet.
We have a question from YouTube from Maria Garcia. The question is directed to Mr. Cortez, but I think Jackie, you feel free to answer as well.
Okay.
It says, a lot of your answers, Mr. Cortez, are county related. What are you going to do for business development within the city limits?
Well, I'm going to do what our city manager says and what the people say, because I'm going to talk to the people, because I'm not the amazing Crescent. I don't know what people want. The only thing I do know what they want is they want the city to look better downtown, a lot better, because they made a lot of complaints to me about that. But businesses, they want to be fruitful and become many. They want, I told them, if Disney leaves, we're going to have a problem. Remember that. So we need to rely on our own businesses to bring tourists down to us. So we have to do something. If you forget about that, then you know something's going to, we're going to have a problem. So we need to do something so we can get business, people to come. And don't forget about our culture that Kissimmee was built on. Kissimmee was built on cows, cattle, and everything else. I mean, cattle and everything else, and other things, not just one thing. And I mean, let's do something, make it a real town. We're not making it a town. And I heard they don't want trucks coming down the middle Main Street. They want it to come to the back of the place. They want the lakefront done. They want back the people coming fishing the lakefront again like it used to be. And that'll bring business here. It's all about bringing it because people like to spend money, so they come down and spend it. Like I said, if Disney goes bye-bye, we're going to have a problem. Unless I'm wrong. Because I'm not the amazing Crescent, so I can't predict the future.
Mrs. Espinosa, would you like to answer as well?
John, just to your point, you said you would do what the city manager indicates we should do, and I think that's not the right answer. I think that's why the commission, and I maybe you didn't mean it like you
No, I
would
didn't mean
let
it that
him
way.
to tell us what to do, but I would certainly be the one speaking for the people, and I would try to create a consensus where at least three of us are agreeing in what's the best resolve for the small businesses as well as the residents of Kissimmee. How do you create successful business plans? You create a successful city goal, right? You have to create that, and to allow the city manager to come in and just tell us
No.
what to do. I don't think that's
No, that's not right.
that's not what we want.
No.
That's what we're there for, to kind of shed guidance, and I think that's our goal. That's why we're elected, to be the voice of the people and the voice of the small business owners in downtown or anywhere within our city limits.
Okay, so we're gonna open it one last time for the audience. Anyone who hasn't spoken yet. All right, Jorge, and then I forgot John. Jorge.
Yes, you touched on bringing more people to Kissimmee, bringing more tourists to the city. And you also talk on bettering the downtown area, making it more beautiful, more attractive for people to come. So, we got a beautiful lakefront, that is full of stuff that needs cleaning.
Mhm.
We have a perception outside of Kissimmee of even people from Orlando that don't want to come to Kissimmee because Kissimmee is ghetto. I've heard it from
Yep,
many
heard that.
even business owners in our organization. So what would you do as mayor to change that perception and to make downtown more attractive to attract these tourists? You have experienced Kissimmee, you have other tourism entities that, I don't know, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, they don't do enough to make Kissimmee attractive for more people to come and visit the great city that we have.
Go ahead.
Well, I would, like you said, I would be speaking to you guys of the chamber. Not only you, the chamber, people. I know you don't make decisions, but you can give us advice. The guy who knows everything knows nothing. El que lo sabe todo, lo sabe nada. Remember that. So, like I was always taught that by my mother, my grandmother. She says, the guy who knows everything knows nothing. So you gotta learn, you gotta feel out. I gotta talk to the city managers, like she said, because I misspoke. Talk to the city manager, and I talked to the commissioners. Okay, what are we gonna do about this problem? We're gonna lose this, and we need to do this because people need to make money, and we need people to have jobs, and we need this everybody to flourish. And we want to do it the right way, in the nice way, and a clean way.
Going back on this, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Your question is about how do we improve the image of Kissimmee, which you hear these type of comments, right? We do have something like Experience Kissimmee. We have stuff like that old program, OLA, stuff like that really the county gets most of the benefits. The city of
Mhm.
Kissimmee does not see the benefits of those different programs, unfortunately. They might tap into the city, but they don't focus on the city. And so we have decisions to make. Either we sit here and complain about what they're not doing, or we create channels to create the spontaneity of marketing our city. And so perhaps some of our general funds can go towards the marketing of our city, because that is a challenge. People look at us, and I say proudly, I live in Kissimmee. I mean, bless the land you walk on, right? And we're so easy in just falling into that stereotype of Kissimmee's a ghetto. I don't think it is. I live in a very beautiful community, surrounded by very wonderful neighbors. And so I choose to speak highly of the city I live in. So to go in and fall into that trap, that's never going to be me. And I think we need to uplift the place we live in, and that comes with leadership. That doesn't come without spoken to.
Jeremy, John is next, and then we'll have you ask your question.
Slightly piggybacking off of what he was talking about. So we're going to go to the downtown area. I used to be on the Parks and Recs board, and I saw that we spent millions of dollars that we poured into the revitalization of our park. And it improves the quality of life, right? We want to improve our community. But one of the things that I saw is that we have a civic center that we're investing in to do events and different things. We have a park now that we want to do events and things like that, but we don't have a simple thing. And maybe it's just a logistic thing. Maybe I'm missing something, but we don't even have a hotel to where when we hold those events where we can tell people that are going to go to the event, this is where you would stay. And I personally have dealt with organizations and individuals that were considering Kissimmee, but because they didn't have the facilities to hold the people there, like just a basic hotel, they went somewhere else. And just one more little thing, it even affects us on a personal level, where I'll have people that will come and visit from out of town, and I don't have room in the house. You want to put them in a nice hotel, I got to put them on the other side of town, because I don't want to put them in any of the motels that are down the 192 corridor. So what are your thoughts about possibly talking, whether it be a chain or just a mid-sized hotel, to to be part of Kissimmee?
Well, there was a while back when I went to the meeting that they had a guy who wanted to open up a hotel, but he wanted us to throw in the Civic Center for free. That wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen. So if you take away the Civic Center, that's taking it away from the public. The Civic Center belongs to the public. But you can still get a hotel. Somebody could come and put a hotel there. You just got to talk to the city. It's all about, like I said, the squeaky wheel. Talk to the squeaky wheel, and let's get this done. But other than that, if you don't talk, nobody's going to know. And you got to talk to the commission. Come to the meeting. Like they said, you can sit in front of the meeting and talk and give your opinion. This is what you want to do. Can I talk to somebody? Or not call the city up. We have plenty of numbers that they can call and talk to somebody. Talk to the city manager.
Just to piggyback off of that, when I was on the board
Mhm.
and I made the suggestion for them to possibly looking into a hotel to create
Yeah.
revenue for the events that we.
That's
want to
right,
bring
exactly.
in, you have to understand too, that these boards are made up of residents, and the residents that are made up in there, I'm not gonna be apologetic about it, don't reflect the community that's in here now. So
Okay.
what you wind up getting is
Okay.
what was here 50, 60, 70 years ago. And they're not interested in what our community, whether you're original, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're African American, they're not interested. It's a preservation of what they had for the last 100 years. And I'm for preservation, but there has to be somehow, some way, middle ground to where everybody is happy. And they looked at me like I was half crazy when I said, let's build a hotel. And the ground that was there, that now there's an apartment complex,
Yep.
was a beautiful place to build a hotel. And with that, I'm going to shut up before my wife.
Well,
There's
if I
currently.
if I may, before you respond to the question about the hotel, if I may, I'm gonna shamelessly plug the program that we're starting here with Florida Technical College, which is a government and policy sort of series of workshops. It's a course that you can take and learn about all of these boards and commissions that, like you said, we as a people, we are not participating in those boards, and those are the boards that are making the decisions. We can go on many different topics on this one because there's a sunshine laws and all of that make it even harder.
Yep.
But acknowledge your comment, and I think it's spot on. And again, I'm plugging this workshop that we're going to be doing, government and public policy, right here in Florida Technical College, with the support of Dr. Levert, Juan Lopez from Congressman Soto's office, and Alianza Center. Father Jose is also working on the curriculum right here in the room as well. So on the hotel.
There's currently an RFP going on right now. So anybody interested in building a hotel in downtown Kissimmee or anywhere abouts, please feel free to reach out if you're watching this. There's currently, right now, an open RFP. And I would love to see maybe a boutique hotel. But then we also have to take into consideration other factors. Perhaps there's a better location for it that would still influence the downtown or our whereabouts, because you also have to think about the traffic, right? So there's other traffic concerns, the quality of life, the noise ordinance that oftentimes is not adhered to. So there's several things that we have to think about for the residents that would come in, or the guests that would come in. So there's a lot to be talked about, and there's different spaces. So, but is there there's an option right now. There is an RFP. So if we had the right fit, I think it would be great to be able to present that to the city commission. To your point, and thank you for bringing that up, because those are important things.
I concur with her.
Okay. Jeremy?
So on the same topic and what Jorge was saying, so the county gets over $100 million in tourist development tax.
Yep.
And the legislature changed the usage. And right now there's zero revenue sharing with both cities. So you have $100 million, and out of that, 45 million goes directly to Experience Kissimmee for marketing for the region, which is mainly focused on the tourist districts out in District 1 and not Kissimmee and not St. Cloud. Would you be willing to, if elected, to build the consensus with your board to work, and if possible, because it could lead to a court case, to really fight to get a fair share of the tourist development tax, to really market our downtown and to fund our own marketing, to bring business into downtown, to bring the tourists, to bring these hotels by getting our own fair share of the tourist development tax?
Of course. Why not?
I would totally be in agreement with that. And if you all know me, I'm not opposed to court cases. So with that being said, I fight for what's right. And if that's our money and our fair share of our money, I am all about doing the right thing. And as a sitting commissioner and a taxpayer, I would absolutely want to protect our tax revenue. And that's the perfect way to do it. And there is money from the TDT that belongs to the city of Kissimmee. And I stand strongly on that, always have. Thank you.
So we have one more question and then we'll go to closing statements.
Wait, John didn't
We are
answer.
here for
Oh,
it's
okay.
online.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
two more questions.
Yeah, I want to make sure that the people online are heard. And this is a question that we touched briefly earlier. No, but as he came in late, I want to be able to answer Pastor Tony Vega. What are we going to do, or what are you going to do with the people that did a crime, pay for it, and want to change he or her life? What are we going to create for these people that needs a second chance? If they committed a crime, they pay for it. Now they want to rejoin society. What are we going to do with those people?
Well, when I worked in the jail, we had programs for when they left. They would get help. As soon as before they even left, they had programs that they can go and get help. Here, I haven't really seen much done here. I'm not gonna say, because I really don't know too much about that one because I didn't work in the jail system here, but I knew they had something. And I knew that it was supposed to help them out to get back into society. Hopefully, if it's not happening, we sit down with the commission and see what we can do and talk with the county. Again, state and the federal level to get people back to work and get them out of that negative thing that they did. They made a mistake. Some people make mistakes and just keep on doing it. Because we have repetitive offenders. Well, a lot of people don't want to do that anymore. They want to straighten out their lives. Even in their late lives, they want to do it. So got to give people a chance.
I believe we should lead with empathy, right? And compassion. And if people have paid their dues to society, that's it. People get the opportunity to rise again. That's it.
Yep.
Thank you. One question over here and then the last one from Michael.
So we've talked about everything here, right? We talked about, the lake, the firefighters, by the way, thank you. We've talked about other things, but the most important thing, in which I heard throughout the whole thing, is the word education. How about our teachers? What do you have for our education program? What is your proposal? What are you willing to do for these underpaid people? Because it blows my mind that Michael Jordan made millions playing basketball, but a teacher taught him how to write and, think. So what would you propose as for a teacher being paid fairly, their benefits, their vacation, right? So what would you do if you were to win that chair towards our educators?
Well, I would do the best that I can. My aunt still was a teacher, became a principal, and still teaching in the Catholic school, retired. She's in New York. She don't want to retire because she loves her kids. It's not easy being a teacher. We're not doing enough for them. They're talking about, like I told you before, about guns in the school, but they want police officers there to do it. They don't want security guards. I know a lot of teachers that are struggling because they're not making enough money. We got to sit down, like I said, like you said, interlocal agreements and talk about the problem. Okay, now we're gonna have any teachers because they're already quitting. They're going to work somewhere else because they're already educated. They can get a job. Yes. And it's sad, but I would do the best I can because that just leaves me with another thing to think about to do. So I'm just gonna leave it at that because I don't want to give you some misinformation.
Thank you. I think that this question is a great question, and thank you for asking that because our teachers are key to our communities and our children. However, our job as commissioners would be to support the local school board because the school board is the one that actually makes decisions when it comes to the budgets of the teachers. So it's not something we can dictate, or we can certainly make suggestions and help be advocates for them, but we have no purview as a city commissioner on the school budget, unfortunately, right? We can't solve the world's problems, although I'd love to personally, but that's not reality. Reality is that that's what the school board is for. And we'd have to make sure that they also, and I'm sure that they are very aware of the situation specifically here in Florida and in our state and in our county. But thank you for that question.
One thing I forgot to add is you have county schools and you have city schools. So the budgets are different. So that's what they told me. That's what I was understanding. So that somebody told me something wrong.
School board has their own budget.
They have their own budget, but doesn't the city and the county give the monies in for it? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. You settled that thing that somebody gave me misinformation. Thank you. Maybe it looks stupid.
All right, thank you.
No.
So one last question, Mike.
Again, my name is Michael. I have a question because about a month ago, I own a small business downtown Kissimmee also. And you own a small business, and I have a couple of people who own small businesses. And we were walking around on a Friday night. It was about 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. And there were several businesses downtown. I mean, the music was crazy going on. People that were using, and you could see them, they were drugged up and everything in the corners of those businesses. How do we plan on working with this, of course, the city, the KPD, which takes downtown? How do we plan on working with that? Because there are some businesses that have that open up and they sell liquor and everything's cool and calm. But you have 2 or 3 down there and nothing happens, and you complain and they just keep it open, and 2 o'clock in the morning and their music is real loud and everybody's smoking what they got to smoke down there and they're doing all their things. How do we plan on working on that? Thank you.
Yeah, just because I was in the law enforcement. To tell you the truth, if your police department's not doing their job, somebody's got to get a reprimand. I'm sorry. Because if you're complaining and this is happening all the time, somebody's not doing the damn job.
Okay, we probably misunderstood everything.
Yeah, but that's the way you said it.
But they're giving them, the commissions are giving the permits to operate
right
all those type of businesses that we know they're illegal
right.
because they're in little corners and they're operating, and we know they're not supposed to be operating, but the commission is giving them all the right to work. Of course, you want to work, but all the right to operate, but they're not having the restrictions on them as the way they should be. Because you could tell the police, go there, but then they're going to say, I got my permits to work because the city is giving them the permission.
Well, I'm going to tell you, if you gave me the information and I'm a commissioner, and I'm a commissioner, I'm going to go investigate. I'm not going to sit on my laurels, do nothing, especially when it's harming the community. That's my first thing. And then I'll get KPD and say, okay, make sure you investigate this. And then we got to go from there, the legal way. All right, well,
you want to respond?
I do. I really do. Let's just be real. Let's get to real business now. Let's talk.
We're not going to close you down.
Can I please get 2 minutes on this one? Please, I'm going to ask for 2 minutes on this one.
Close you down. Don't worry.
Thank you. No, and you'll never be able to close me down because I have great business practice. I really do in my business.
You do.
And I stand
We're not just kidding.
Thank you, John. And I'm going to be very honest. I don't think it's a KPD issue. More so because I have a great relationship with KPD. It's a business owner issue. It's the fact that the business owners don't take responsibility for their businesses, and the city commission is sitting back not doing anything about it.
Okay.
It's the current city commission that we have right now is relaxed and not understanding because it requires boots on the ground. You've got to be involved and in the city and understanding what happens. After 5 o'clock, It's a different nightlife. And we have got to be there to be the voice of the people. And we are negating our responsibilities as city commissioners and as elected officials to understand the real challenges that happen when when it gets dark.
Exactly.
And so that's the problem. So I can't hold KPD responsible for
No.
something that the owners of the businesses are not being held accountable for. So as city commissioners, it's our responsibility to make sure that our charter, our ordinances are being
Yep.
looked
Being
after. And
kept.
if there's a noise ordinance, let's comply with it.
Yep.
And if we as commissioners are not doing what
Enforce
we
it.
have to do and calling people out, we have failed the people. And that's what's happening in our city. So let's talk about it. Sorry, it's the truth. It's the truth. And we've kept it kumbaya up until now. These are real issues. These are real issues that have to be discussed.
Especially noise.
And it is. And John, you know, I know you can agree with it because you've been out there and you've seen the kind of stuff that happens.
know we do.
So for us to pretend and turn our face because it's easier to turn our face and ignore these issues, wrong. And it's wrong on our elected officials to keep pretending that they're doing something when they're not. And that's why we're running for office, because we're tired of that nonsense. Am I wrong?
Yep.
John, I think we can agree to it on that. And for the people that are watching, Marcos, just to be clear, the people that are watching, I am a business owner downtown, and this is why I can speak so freely and with so much authority on it, because I own a restaurant downtown, in case the people that are watching don't know. And so I know what happens because I have my restaurants open till midnight, and God knows after midnight, it is what it is. So let's talk about real city issues. And those are the kind of issues, where's Jorge Figueroa, that make our city look the way you just referenced earlier. So those are the things that have to be addressed so that we can raise the bar for the city of Kissimmee. And that's what we're going to do come election time.
So we went full circle back to safety and security, right?
Sorry.
Oh,
I
how
get
about that?
passionate.
How
I
about
get
that?
passionate.
Aplausos.
I'm
Great
sorry.
job.
I
Great
love
job,
your
everybody.
living.
You're hired. You're hired.
I get passionate. I'm sorry. I went way over my 2 minutes. I'll concede a
No,
minute to you.
no.
Well, we'll let it pass. We'll let it pass.
Thank you.
We won't
Thank you.
hold you to it. All right, so let's wrap it up. And first of all, thank everybody for being part of here. Thank you to La Prensa who's here. The Osceola Star was here, and Telemundo covering the forum tonight. Great to have the media here. Great to have so many candidates and officials here. We had Andrew Bain here as well. He's still here. I saw he's so tall that now you sat down and I lost you.
We lost you.
Yeah, you know, it really is exciting to be having these events. We had two last week, full house as well. We had two more before that, and we're going to continue having these. They're going to get, hopefully they help us spread the word and make them bigger and bigger, because the bottom line is, if we don't go out and vote, all of this is just a conversation, and that's where it's going to
That's
stay
correct.
in the room. Take advantage of the moment of these opportunities that we're providing for folks. Take these recordings. This is all going to be recorded online. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Let's make sure share it with your churches. Share it everywhere. It's a way for folks to really understand and learn what the candidates stand for, and for them to be able to make a more informed and a better decision, a decision that they make grounded on the people that they met in these conversations. So thank you all for being here tonight. Our next one is going to be in Orlando on the 18th. That's this Thursday. It's District 43. District 43, Joanna Lopez, and her opponent is Paul Melendez. Joe Melendez. Escaped my mind. But they're going to be discussing their ideas for the district and how they're going to represent Tallahassee. So we hope to see you all there. It's going to be in Orlando. This one, we're moving from Osceola to Orange County next week, or actually this week, later on this week. It's a lot of these events, and jumping around from Orlando to Kissimmee. But se puede y lo vamos a hacer. So to wrap it up, 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I love it if you can.
I can't. I don't live in there. That's
Give him
fine.
three. Give him three.
Thank you.
You know, we have
Thank
some
you.
time. We have some.
It's like 2 minutes. I'm just warming up. Are you kidding me?
Is three okay? Is three okay, folks?
Ay, Dios
Okay,
mío.
three. Okay, 3 minutes. Okay, the staff wants two. The audience wants three. So we're
So
gonna
it's a 2.5.
we have to please the audience. Three. All right. So 3 minutes for closing statements. I'd love it if you could talk about your three top priorities as mayor. What are your three top priorities going to be? And anything else that you'd like to share with folks here in closing? And we started with you, Jackie, so we're
Yes.
going to start with
Absolutely.
John Cortez.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. My three priorities would be homelessness, affordable housing, and transportation. And also what was the other one? There was another one I had. Well, I'll keep those three for now. But we have to do something about the traffic. That's the biggest thing that's holding people back, because they can't get to work. And I don't know if you've seen the violence with the people killing each other on the roads lately. I don't know if you've read the stories. Things like that. Homelessness. We got to do something. We got to everybody's got to come together and speak with all governments got to come together, because we're like she said, interlocal agreements. We got to speak on what's going on. How do we fix it? What was the other one? There was another one I wanted to talk about. Affordable housing. You're making $15 an hour. You can't afford $1,700 a month. I mean, we got to do something about the pay scale, and we got to talk to our Fed side, because that's the Fed side. Raise the raise the money up. There was a lot of things we spoke about today that we should be working on as a entity together, and the squeaky wheels got to be the grease where we're speaking. Because if we don't speak on what's going on, it's not going to happen. We talked about the jails, we talked about living, we talked about this, we talked about that, but we need to do everything the way we're supposed to be doing it. Speaking about it and going to the meetings and voicing our opinions. We're not doing that. Why are we not doing that? You go to the city, go to the county, go anywhere that's going to speak. We got to work with St. Cloud. We got to work with Orlando. We got to work with the feds. We got to work with the county. If the county's not doing their job, let's get on their case too. We got to get on their case too. I got to work with the city manager. I got to follow his orders with the other 4 commissioners. I'm not going to do this by myself. I don't know everything. Like I said before, the guy who knows everything knows nothing, and I don't plan to do that. And I'm not going to have a thing where you can't come speak to me. You want to come speak to me? I have no problems listening. I did it when I was in the state, and I'll do it now. I have no problem listening to conversation and learning, because I'm on a learning curve. I don't know everything. So if you need help, see me, talk to me, let me know what's going on so I can learn and I can try to get the problem solved. Because I ain't doing this by myself. I got 4 other commissioners and the city manager to do it. Hopefully I can do something. So vote for me for mayor. Hopefully I can get it done. I don't know everything, and I don't expect to be the person to know everything. Que lo sabe todo, no sabe nada. And that's it for me.
All right. So thank you, John, for being the only one to show up here tonight. I really appreciate your bravery. So let's hear it for John. There we go. Let's start with that. Thank you, Alianza. I appreciate you for doing this regardless of whoever else is not doing it. And I thank
That's
you for
right.
your leadership, because a lot of people complain about, oh, this is the only outlet being done, but no one else is stepping up to them. So thank you for doing this locally. And now I'll explain that everyone's platforms is very similar. We all talk about affordable housing. We all talk about homelessness. We all talk about our first responders. Now, what are we doing about it is going to be the real answer. And I plan to work my tail off, as I've done, to create the amount of businesses that we've created as a family, successful businesses. And I believe that the city should be ran like a successful business, period. That's it. I think we have to create consensus amongst the board members. Some are going to be a lot easier to work with than others. Some really uphold the oath they took for this city and the constituents. Some are questionable. And those are the ones that we have to work really hard to lead them into the way where they understand that the city of Kissimmee needs proper representation. We saw it the day that they allowed one of the candidates to run And that's not going to stay without being mentioned this evening. And unfortunately, she's not here to defend herself, right, or to protect herself or have an answer. But I stand firm in the fact that there is ordinance that needs to be adhered to, and we, as commissioners elected to represent the people, should speak up on behalf of the people of Kissimmee. And we can't be afraid to speak the truth. We can't be afraid to speak with knowledge and understanding. And I think that's part of the problem, is that we all want to just pretend that it's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay if we don't work hard at making it okay. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to speak about the truth. Sometimes it's uncomfortable to speak about things that will help improve our city. But those uncomfortable situations and conversations have to be had so that our city could raise the bar. And that's what I plan to do, is raise the bar for the city of Kissimmee, as I've done for the businesses that I've been able to establish in downtown Kissimmee. Now, John, you've worked at the state level for 6 years, and I commend you because you did a great job when you were there. But I know the city. I know the city all too well, and didn't have to serve as an elected official. I'm in it every day. I'm in it. My family's in it. And I love the city of Kissimmee. And we're going to do the right thing for the residents. We're going to raise the bar. We're going to raise the bar for the businesses in downtown and for every life that is touched by the city of Kissimmee, so that 4 years from now, people could say, we are proud to be Kissimmeans, because I sure as hell am proud to be in Kissimmee.
Thank you so much to John and
Thank you.
Jackie.
See.
It's been a long 2 weeks.
Jackie
But,
Espinosa,
Jackie
vote for
Espinosa.
me on May 20th, on August 20th. There I go, me dañaste. Thank you.
Mira, no me maten, no me maten.
It's Monday,
Okay.
it's Monday.
All right, so thank you both.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I want to also recognize the wonderful team of people that work at Alianza. I'm just the founder, but Sergio, please stand up, stand up. He was in charge of keeping the conversation going and timing the speakers.
He
and
made
all
us
of that, so
nervous
great
all
job.
night long. Thank
Carol
you.
Landaeta, Ángel Sepúlveda, our volunteer, Hoover, Henry, Deputy Director Jose Rodriguez, Gary Millán, Diana Joaquín. ¿Quién? Se acaba de ir Inma. And Inma, the Rock of Alianza, is Inma. She was just here. She just left. Inma Sanchez. A big round of applause for Inma. Thank you all of you for being here tonight. Some of the faces are becoming regular. Don't stop coming. Come back. Bring more people into the room.
Bring more.
We can open up this whole hall over here, right, Dr. Levert? Yeah, so we can have twice as many people here. It's
Wow.
perfect. So let's continue spreading the word. And also, my friends, Osceola County had the lowest turnout of voting in the entire state of Florida. Okay, last cycle in 2022, broke records from 2014 to 2022. We can't let that happen. Part of, we talk about building and investing and building businesses. We also have to vote. So spread the word to everyone you know. Voting is so important. We are in a moment in our history where things are happening that are unbelievable. We never thought would be happening. And if we shy away from our civic duty of voting, we're just letting that take over and letting that happen and spread. And we cannot allow that to happen. Democracy is fragile. It's democracy is as good as we make it as people, and we do that by voting. So thank you all for being here.
Thank you.
See you next time. Nos vemos próximamente. Gracias, John. Gracias, Jackie.
All right. Oh man, I can't even get up.
Vamos a sacarle